Welcome to the Divinely Driven Results Live show. My name is Elise Smith, Christian business strategist, and we get to empower Christian women entrepreneurs just like you to be able to reach their sales goals by partnering with God, empowering their mindset, and utilizing biblical business strategy. All right, now, if you're anything like me, ladies, you sit for a long time getting lost in work and everything that you're doing in your business. And all of a sudden your neck starts hurting and you're like, I wonder why that is. Well, that is totally me. I will tell you, I get terrible migraines and I just get so sucked into what I'm doing in my work and my business that I forget to get up. And that is why I am so excited to have an incredible guest here today that's going to help us with our posture and with movement and be able to really create a better workday for us so that we can serve those people who we are meant to serve. And that means we need to take care of ourselves first. So does your knee bounce? Are you a pen twirler or chewer? Is your workday an actual pain in the neck? I love that. Or shoulders or back? If that's you, you are in the right place. So today we are going to hear from the most incredible lady. Let me read her bio so you can get to know her more, but I'm so excited to talk about this because it's something that's not being talked about very often, and we need this in our workday. So this is Alessa Caridi, and she is the Power Posture Pro and your Workday Health Interrupter. I love that. She is a master certified Pilates instructor and enjoys sharing her knowledge with anyone that will listen, no matter how large or small the audience. From Zoom meetings in today's modern working situations to stages at the United Nations to TV news segments. With all of the changes happening in our working and day-to-day living situations, Alessa decided it was time to put all of her favorite workspace hacks and exercises into one place. Her book, The Ultimate Workspace Toolkit, your guide to solving the aches, pains, and productivity problems of your workday. Now the work from anywhere warrior, I love that, can create sustainable, high productivity the JōbuFIT way, even when in-person talks are not possible. This is so fascinating, guys. Listen to this. So Alessa has a passion for perfecting her healthy self, fully understanding the wonderful machine we live in, and passing along her knowledge to anyone that will listen. Alessa is UCLA graduate and certified Pilates instructor, educator, and author, and she has taught Pilates and danced professionally on 3 continents and owned her own Pilates studio in 2 countries. During her 3 years as a Pilates studio owner in Okinawa, Japan, she experienced firsthand what makes Okinawans some of the healthiest, longest living people on the planet, and how this culture cares for and emphasizes the physical health of its people. Alessa knew their practices, combined with her anatomy based on knowledge, needed to be translated for the rest of the world. This is where JōbuFIT, the workplace movement company, was born. And I love that. That's so cool. I can't wait to hear more. So Alessa, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for that massive introduction. I feel like I don't have to say anything anymore, that you just gave it all out and I can just sit here and smile. So that's great.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I love that because, talk to us about JōbuFIT and how that came from your whole experience in Japan, because I find that fascinating.
Well, so what I tell people is JōbuFIT is actually kind of this mashup of everything that I have experienced like from a child all the way up until I made it to Japan. I come from a family of doctors. So growing up, like when I would get hurt, or if a muscle hurts something, or I'd pull something in my back and I'd be like, oh, my back hurts. And my dad would be like, oh, that's your trap. That's not your back, Alessa, or when my like hip would hurt, because I was dancing hours and hours and hours a week, like 24 plus hours a week when I was in high school. Be like, this thing hurts here. And he'd be like, oh, that's the insertion of your, of your quadricep in this area. And so that's how I grew up, like being explained things when something hurt. This is what it actually was. And that's how I thought that was normal. Like I thought, this is how you talk about your body. This is how you should know your body. And then I went to university and I was a dance major. as the whole world knows now at UCLA. And I just talked about my body that way as well. So if something hurt, or if I needed a massage, or something came up, I knew exactly what was going on. And I quickly realized people were looking at me like I had 3 heads, and nobody else knew how to. They're just like, oh yeah, that's your big leg bone, that's the arm bone, that kind of thing. And so that actually led to me then doing my senior project in anatomy to kind of further my knowledge there, and to really be able to support myself, to like really from like an injury prevention place, because now I'm just a giant nerd. Like when I start to learn something, I want to learn all of it. And especially when it comes to anatomy, because we only have one body. There are no trade-ins like cell phones, right? There's no upgrades. You can put a Band-Aid on something and, hope for the best, but you really have to take care of the one body you have, because, it's our sanctum. So through that and through my studies, and after I graduated, I wanted to twirl around on stage, and I ended up breaking my foot. And so I wasn't able to do that right away. And so my parents were like, you need to find something. And so that's when I started doing Pilates. And just like the giant nerd in me, I couldn't just take one certification. I took them all. And I took a lot of them multiple times. And so then I got to the point where I was training other instructors to become instructors. So other people that wanted to be instructors to really help other people. And that's when I really started getting passionate about helping people protect themselves, because I learned it from a dance perspective. And then I kind of perfected it or dove deeper in an extreme kind of sports and an anatomy way. And so then when I made it to Japan with my new husband and my tiny little poodle at the time, I had to find something to do, and I was moving around and I was helping other bodies and Pilates and everything, in the ways that I was doing. I was training Marines, sailors, soldiers, airmen, stay-at-home moms, DoD professionals, all different kinds of bodies. And that's kind of, I saw that everybody had the same problems, no matter what they did. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, their back hurts, they're getting stressed out. They were fatigued from staring at a computer all day long, or getting up really early in the morning for a workout and then work, and then having to sit in one space or stand in one place for an extended amount of time. And it didn't matter what they did. If you were a mom or a caregiver, or if you were working on, jet fighter, like planes, they all had the same kind of fatigue, stress, and body pain by midday. And so then I started looking around and saw what the Japanese practice, which is called Ryo Taijo. I actually don't think that you mentioned that. That might be the one thing that you didn't mention in this. And it just like we have street lamps, like up periodically down roads. The Japanese have street lamps with speakers on top of them. And at the same time, every morning, the same music plays. And it doesn't matter if you're a child in school, if you're a construction worker, if you work in a high-rise office building, they do the same stretch, awakening kind of body routine, and everybody learns it from a child, like from when you're young. So like the children do it in the schoolyard before they start their day. And that was something that really like light bulb moment for me. And because I had the Pilates background, because I had the dance background, and because I saw this every day, I was like, why don't we have this in the States? And so then that's the reason why I use the word Jobu. It's kind of like an homage, a thank you to where I really saw this happen. Because then when I brought it back to the States, it's nothing like what the Japanese do. The Japanese do the same thing. It's about 10 minutes of movement. It's an extended amount of time. And I tried it in friends' offices, for like solopreneurs, and everybody said the same thing. It's too long. I don't have this time, right? I don't have 10 to 15 minutes. I just don't have it. And so then I shortened it, and then I divided things up, and there's multiple iterations of this until we get to what I do now, which is 10 minutes or less. Most of the time it's 8 minutes or less, and it's workspace movement. So everything that you do is 100% workspace approved. You don't have to, you're not getting on the floor, right? We're not turning your workday upside down. I'm not asking you to do cartwheels down the hall. I'm just because I love this, because people say to me, oh, I do desk side fitness. I leave my meeting on and I do 100 push-ups and 100 sit-ups on the floor. And I say, well, that's wonderful. But just because you do it next to your workspace doesn't make it workspace health and fitness. And so that's why I've kind of tried to carve out my own little space to help bodies who don't like to get on the floor, don't necessarily have that kind of time or need or want to do that kind of fitness in their workday, or they can't get sweaty, in the middle of the day. They need to stay on camera. And so now it's a challenge for myself. And I use my Pilates background to really teach people how to sit, stand, and maneuver around their technology so that they can stay healthy and fit and get on with their workday, have productive days.
Oh, I love that. Like I said, it's not something I think that's being taught too much right now, but to take that from, what the Japanese do to bring that to the States and make it kind of more, snackable or whatever, very.
I love that. Yes, it's definitely snackable is a great word. That's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. That's so awesome. And we definitely need that. So give us an idea of I know that there are some people who are going to watch this and also some people are going to listen to this. So give us some ideas of what you can do to help to remove some of the pain or really prevent it in the first place.
So we have these terms, sitting is the new smoking, catchphrases, right? Sitting is the new smoking, tech neck, sleeping butt syndrome, the big one from 2020, digital fatigue. And because of these kind of, catchphrases, they're not just catchphrases, right? They're actual problems. And people think that, okay, the only way to solve sitting is the new smoking is to get up, go for a run, make sure you get your hour workout in. And actually, you don't have to do that. And a lot of people, that actually scares them, because before 2020 and before all these lifestyle changes that happened, they weren't big workout people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I try to teach people is from a mobility standpoint, if you don't use it, you will lose it. And so when I go into offices, very, very frequently, I'm getting ready to do this for you, but very frequently I say to the men and women that I'm speaking with, right, let's stretch our hands up to the lights. And they go like this, and they can't get any higher than this. And it's because they sit like this all day at their computers or this all day at their phones. And so something that you can do to kind of fight back, right? Tech neck is all so that you can see turning sideways a little bit, right? We're on our phones and this is what happens, right? Or on our computers and this kind of is what happens. So something that you can do that will kind of fight back, right? To fight back the sitting and I guess we'll start with the tech neck here, is we want to start, okay, how about this? We're going to start by aligning our bodies, and then we're going to get to the tech neck thing, because this is really where everything starts. Because it doesn't matter if you're working, it doesn't matter if you're eating, it doesn't matter if you're binging Netflix on the couch, you have to sit down, right? Everyone knows that they cannot avoid sitting. So if there's one thing that you can take away from this 20-minute conversation that we're going to be having, this is it. So this is put this in your check mark box. Take your eyes and actually look down at your feet. Establish that brain body connection. Acknowledge your feet on the ground. Make sure all 10 toes are pressed forward, right? Sometimes you don't know it, but if you actually look down at your feet, one foot might be slightly in, or both might be out, or both may be in, and reestablish that, because there's so much of our body alignment and so much of our body pain comes from the feet not being even underneath you. So if you actually look down, make sure all 10 toes are forward, the whole foot is pressed on the ground, right? If you're a knee bouncer, right, sometimes your heel is off the floor a little bit. Sometimes maybe you roll out to the side of your foot, the blade of your foot. So really press the whole foot down to the floor so that you can get that triangle, the big toe, the pinky toe, and the back of your heel. Just push it down. It doesn't have to be pressed to the ground. Just make sure it's even. And this is, if you feel the body fatigue, if you feel back pain creeping in, if you feel, mid back pain creeping in, reestablish that connection, look down and just align your body, right? So you got your feet, you have your knees, you got your hips, you have your spine, you pull your shoulders down, right? And then all of a sudden you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm square again. There's no pinching, right? There's no leaning. Then we're aligning our body. Okay. So that was just a really quick talk through. And now we're going to undo tech neck because we're going to fight sitting is the new smoking. Sorry about that jump around there.
Love it.
But so when you have tech neck, which is a catchphrase, I have to point this out because I get yelled at all the time on Instagram for this. Tech neck is not an actual, disease, like malfunction, and none of these things. And I get it. These are all catchphrases for a reason, right? Sitting is not actually the new smoking, right? It's something that happens when you're sitting for a long period of time, but it's supposed to make us want to fix it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So tech neck, we're hunched. So we want to undo the hunch, which is what I tell people. So the easiest way to do that is just take your hands and press them on your shoulders. And you're going to push your shoulder blades down. We're going to depress our shoulders. So when you are depressing your shoulders down, I want you to reach your elbows out away from you. So you're pushing your shoulders down and we're reaching out and away from you. So if you can see them here, this is a little too close. If you can feel it pinch back here, that's not where we want it to be. So we really just want to reach the shoulders so they're pressing long, getting the arm bone, right? We'll stick with arm bone right now. And we're pushing it away from the shoulder socket, okay? And then you're just pressing it out. And now I want you to imagine that your elbows are drawing circles on the wall opposite of you. So you really want to trace with the point of your elbow here, just tiny circles going backwards. And then that way the shoulder is staying down. Notice how I'm not doing this with my shoulder. It's really just the elbow that's drawing the circle and you're pressing them out and away from you. And then when you get 10 of those, you can do it the opposite direction, right? Because we want to be able to control in every direction, right? We don't want to collapse back down. We want to stay up nice and tall. And then you're just going to relax everything down because that actually, I don't know, did you feel that in your shoulders a little bit?
For sure.
Yeah, these are muscles that when you're sitting and typing or you're sitting and texting are not getting used. And so when you really align your body again and you press the muscle out and you engage that muscle, you're using it so that you don't lose this and lose it and then meaning get into bad posture habits. So that's one thing that you can do. Another thing that I really like to do too is I'm going to turn to diagonal so that you can see me again for this. Is acknowledge the hunch and then undo it. So you clasp your palms, you're going to press them forward in front of you, and then you can press your hands forward. You can tuck your chin here too a little bit if you want to really acknowledge the fact that you got this round kind of hump shape. You're doing that hunch so you can undo it. And then what you want to do is you want to imagine there's a pencil between your shoulder blades. And from this position, you want to squeeze the pencil between your shoulder blades. So you're pulling it back. So I'm glad that you didn't keep your arms stretched because you don't have to. This is really about your shoulder blades, your scapula. You're pulling them together. And then when you're here, you're going to press them down. So it's kind of a circular motion. So you're going to press everything forward. And then you're going to pull the shoulder blades together back and then press it down. And the same thing, you're really squeezing back here. So you're imagining that if these are your shoulder blades behind your back, that when you squeeze them together and then you're going to depress them down and then they'll wrap forward like this. And then you'll squeeze them together and you press them down. And that's really actively undoing this because if you're sitting correctly in this position, there's no way that you can hunch forward, right? So squeeze those shoulder blades back and away. Do you want to do something for your lower body too?
Let's do it
a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you can't see my desk here because of just my setup today. But if you need stabilization, if you need something to make your body a little bit more stable, please use your desk area. If your chair is on wheels, be conscious of your chair. So don't move quickly, right? So even though when I tell people pulse and breathe, and when you get comfortable, you can speed it up and do it more. But if your chair is on wheels, the last thing I need is for you to, the chair goes too far backwards and you end up on the floor. So let's not do that. But you want to push yourself back from your workspace. I'm just going to adjust so that maybe you can see me a little bit better. My chair. Oh, all right. And you're going to shift your bum to the front part of your chair. So just slide your bum up. what you're going to do is you're going to take a look at your feet. You're going to make sure all 10 toes are pointed forward. The whole foot is on the ground. And now when your whole foot is on the ground, you're just going to step your feet back about a half of a foot length. Does that make sense? So if your feet are like this, you're just going to shift back like this. Both feet go backwards so they're even again. And the reason for that is we're going to stand up. And if your feet are directly under your knees, it's almost impossible to do this in one motion. So hands on your hips or hands on your desk, whatever you feel most comfortable with, you're going to squeeze your belly and you're going to take yourself about 2 to 3 inches off of the floor, right? So, sorry, not off of the floor, off of the chair. Let's make sure you're more than 2 to 3 inches off of the floor. So you're just going to take yourself about 2 to 3 inches off of your chair. That's it. You're going to hold right here. You're going to squeeze your bum again. You're going to feel your quads, the tops of your legs engage, and you're going to pulse up. You're going to just go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and sit back down on your chair. Now your feet shouldn't move. You're aligned in your body, and then you're going to go again. This time you're going to press 2 or 3 inches off of your chair, but we're going to pulse down. So you're going to go down 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you're going to sit back down. Now, when you do that, you can either alternate with pulses up and then alternate with and then pulse down and then pulse up again for another 10. But really, if one direction feels better than the other direction, go with what feels better for you. Or at the top of the hour, at 9 a.m., pulse up for 10 and do 5 sets. And then at the top of the hour at 10 a.m., pulse down for 10 and do 5 sets. And really, you're going to engage your quads in one direction. You're going to engage your hamstrings and even into your Achilles and your bum in both directions, but your Achilles and your hamstrings in the other direction. And it's just working your body in a way that you can get fitness in 5 minutes, maybe even less than that. And you're engaging your body and you're breaking the statue lifestyle, that sedentary lifestyle that really it's actually killing us. So there you go. You got a mini workout in 5 minutes with me right now. I don't know if you thought you signed up for that, but there you go.
I know this is the most interactive podcast that we've done yet. So I love this. No, I think it's so important for us to remember that our bodies are supposed to move, right? I mean, we are not supposed to just be sitting here the whole time doing nothing. You think about, Adam and Eve, just to take it back to the scriptures here, is that you bet they were not just sitting around the Garden of Eden, just chilling, right? Like they had to for their own substance of,
Right.
walking around and picking and that kind of thing. And I think that when we look at the world that we live in now, it's so different than the people who came before us, who really did have to work for what they're doing and just to survive. And so I think that that's really important for us to remember, like we're meant to move. And like you said, if we don't use it, we lose it. And we can apply that to our spiritual side, and we can apply that to our physical and even our businesses. So this has been great. Thank you so much. So when we go back to kind of the title of the show, of the secret to consistently better workdays, what would you say, summing that up in like one sentence, what is that secret?
I think you need, maybe it might be like 2 or 3 sentences, so
Yeah,
I apologize.
you're
But
fine.
I think you need to be kind to your body and understand that when your body goes into stress mode, when it starts showing you pain or starts showing you fatigue, that these are all signs that it needs to be acknowledged, and it needs to be shown that it needs support, right? And because we only have one body, like we started talking about this, and it really needs to be treated that way. And the best way to do that, to create sustainable high productivity, and what I teach at the very basic level, is to create a schedule for your health, just like you schedule your workday. And I had briefly mentioned at like the top of every hour, spending 5 minutes to move your body. And that's really something that I teach, is kind of get yourself a healthy work schedule. I hope you don't mind, you can cut me off, but that's my free download, is really, if you want to steal my healthy work schedule, I give it to you. In the download, there's like more than 40 links of things that you can do at the top of every hour. I like the top of every hour, but really you can build it out for yourself. And that's the goal, is to really listen to your body so that you can create that work schedule, stick to that healthy work schedule, and really create the sustainable high productivity that your body deserves, your boss deserves, your career trajectory deserves.
So wonderful. Yeah, I was actually just going to say, so I know you have a free gift. So yeah, definitely go and check that out. We'll put that link in the comments below and in the show notes and all of those different things, but go and check that freebie out because I know I'm going to. I always, I want to move and I want to get around, but I'm like, but what do I do? Right. And Alessa, I have been checking out her social media and she's got all sorts of videos and things that she walks us through on how to do it in a really quick and fast way. And at the top of the hour totally works for me. So, so if people want to connect with you, tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh yeah. On Facebook here, right? But yeah, over on Instagram at alessa.JōbuFIT. And I can even drop that into the comments too. And then on LinkedIn. I really love LinkedIn and I would encourage anyone to link in with me there, send me a message. I spend most of my time really connecting there because it's a workplace, workspace platform. And that's, send me your problems. That's another thing too. I get requests all the time on social media. If you have, at least if you have a pain point that you want me to fix, send me a message and I'll direct you to a video that's already there, or if there's something that's not there, or create a video, because I can guarantee you're not the only one that has that problem. So
awesome. I love that. Well, great. Thank you so much, Alessa. This has been an incredible show. It's been unlike what we usually have, which is super fun, that we were able to be interactive. I hope you guys followed along and did this as well. If you're listening to this on Anchor, make sure, or any other podcast place, make sure you come and check out the YouTube video so you can see exactly what she was doing and you can get those links as well. But this has been amazing. And just remember, ladies, like it's great to be in the zone and to be working and to have that flow. But at the same time, God has given us this incredible gift of our bodies, and we should be moving it and taking care of it as best as we can so that it can take care of us to serve more people. So Alessa, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for sharing your space.
Awesome. All right, guys, we will see you next time on the Divinely Driven Results Show.